how do you feel when somebody asks you that you're having yet another baby? Like, you did this to me, I hate you.
Oh my goodness.
So what's it like? Because how do you feel waddling like a penguin? I would love to see you be like, cried. I know. Okay, what's going on, everybody? So today I am here with my wife Nisa to discuss 10, what did you say, 10 things what it's really like to be pregnant.
Oh, I have no idea what they are, so this is gonna be interesting to see if I can even answer these. Like, I'm gonna answer the questions as an all-around, like taking all of my pregnancies into account, not just this one. So even my first. Right. So okay.
One thing that always irritates me as the husband, and I know it's worse for you, so I'm just saying it from my perspective, that always bugs me, is your sense of smell.
I know.
So what is it like to be able to smell everything? Because there's a certain period in your pregnancy that all of a sudden
I can't stand the smell.
She just gets annoyed by everything.
Everything smells.
Like yesterday, it was about the kids' bathroom and how horrible it smelled in there. And I went in there, and it did smell a little bit funky.
No,
but the thing was, it
really
was
bad.
Yeah, but see, your sense of smell is so heightened that it's.
It's like, I feel like, okay, being able to smell, because obviously when I'm not pregnant, I just smell normal. And so having the heightened sense of smell, like especially if it's a pungent aroma in general, like ketchup or bathroom or something, I feel like a dog, like that sniffs out everything, and it's like I can find,
I use you for rescue.
Because there are times, no, I'm serious, like I will literally come downstairs or something, I'm like, there's something, no, there's something.
Something's wrong here.
Something's wrong down here, and everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, no, there's something wrong, and I will search everywhere.
And there's one rogue sock, you know, under the couch.
One thing, and I'm like, that's it. That's what it was. It's actually it's really annoying because.
Yeah, it's annoying for me, so I can only imagine it for you.
It adds to the nausea. So like when you're nauseous and then you're constantly smelling things, and usually for me, when I smell things, they don't smell good. Right. It's like the things that I smell so strongly smell disgusting. I rarely ever have been like, oh, what's that smell? Ooh, that smells so good. No, it usually smells absolutely hideous. So I don't know how that happens. Like, why can't we smell the good stuff?
So kind of going off of that, same thing with eating. So I kind of noticed, like, how is it so, like, we've been in the stores and then you're like, what was it yesterday? We were at Whole Foods and she's like, oh, that sounds absolutely horrible right now.
Yeah.
And even though you once loved something or once has tasted good.
Yeah, literally, okay, when you're pregnant and something doesn't sound good to you, it's not like a regular food aversion where you're like, that doesn't sound good right now, like I'm not really into that. It feels like, the only way I've ever been able to explain it is when you have the flu and you've been you threw up, like let's say you ate like,
for me,
macaroni. And then you threw up the macaroni and you can't fathom eating it. That is what it feels like when you have a food aversion when you're pregnant. The thought of it makes you want to throw up again.
Yeah.
It's strong.
I think that's what, like, tomato soup for me. That's why I can't eat it. Because I remember as a kid, Mom fed it to me when I was sick, and then I barfed it up. And
it's disgusting. And it's like,
smells
if you
disgusting.
reverse that on like when you have like a food craving, food cravings are just as strong. It's like life or death.
But see,
it feels like if I do not get...
It's the extreme.
It's the extreme. It's not like, oh, that sounds really good. I really, really want that. It's like, if I do not get that in my mouth right now, I may not survive. Like, it's the weirdest thing because you try... I know a lot of pregnant women, a lot of moms try so hard to eat healthy. And then they have a craving. And it's not like when you're not pregnant, you can just... mind over matter, I'm not gonna have it. When you have the pregnancy cravings, you literally feel like, if I do not get this craving fixed right now, I will not make it through the day. It makes me crabby. It makes me hate the day. Like,
but what has been your craving?
You need to have
your
it.
Biggest craving for this pregnancy that you noticed?
My biggest craving for this pregnancy has probably been chocolates, which is really weird.
That's good.
it is the weirdest thing because...
At least it's not pickles or deep fried something or...
But it's the weirdest thing because I do not, like, when I say chocolates, I'm not talking about like a chocolate bar. I'm talking about the little, like, you know, Valentine's Day chocolates.
See's candy. We went to See's.
Yeah, See's candy, the little chocolates with like the fruit in the middle. I normally hate those. I do not like those, but this pregnancy, it's like, I need one. I have to have it and I need to eat it right now.
So this one I know because I've heard stories. Your dreams.
Oh my goodness.
So what's it like? Because I know you from like you pretty much either she doesn't remember her dreams or they're just kind of real basic normal life. Yeah, but now in pregnancy.
Okay. I think a lot of women are going to relate to this because pregnancy dreams are the craziest, most realistic. So it's like you're watching a movie and you know when you get into a movie and you're like really into it and you can't take your eyes off of it because it's really intriguing. Only you yourself are in that movie. Like you can't.
Are you pregnant in your dream?
I'm never pregnant in my dream. It's really weird. Well, actually, I did have a dream.
I know she's had some really creepy ones that we won't share, but...
Yeah, no, there has been like... I remember the first dream when I was pregnant with Hanny, our first. I had the most realistic dream. It was the weirdest. And they're not like regular dreams. They're like weird dreams. Like, why would you dream that? Like, what would this have to do with anything?
Well, that's how I say some thriller movies come from people's weird dreams and imaginations. It's like... That's kind of what you would say is like...
Long story short, the first pregnancy dream I ever had, which totally was like... I didn't even know anything about pregnancy dreams. When I was pregnant with Hanny, I was like out on this beach and I was walking along the water and there was this huge cabin house. And when I was walking up to the house, there was this sewer drain, like the kind in the middle of the street. Yeah, and I looked out this sewer drain and there was a bumblebee, like... falling down, holding on to the little side, saying help, help. And in my dream it was so vivid of like, I have to help this bumblebee. It is falling down the sewer drain and like it can't die, this poor bumblebee. It was the weirdest thing, but it feels like it feels so real that you can't forget it. You know, usually you forget your dreams by morning time, but these kind, they stick with you. Like you can't forget them, whether they're weird or messed up.
They're so weird that they just implanted themselves in your...
Just the weirdest thing.
As a guy that I will never have to think about or deal with, and I'm happy for that, is childbirth. Do you ever get scared?
Oh my goodness.
Of childbirth? Now granted, you've had 6. You know, you've been in hospitals, you've had, you know, regular, and then you've had natural childbirth.
Yeah. Oh man.
But so now you're hoping to have another home birth.
Yeah. So I've experienced all 3.
So are you, do you get the same scare kind of?
So 4, I've had hospital with conventional, like everything, like epidural. I've had hospital with no medication. Right. I've had hospital with no medication with Pitocin, like that makes you contract. Okay. I've had a birth center birth, and then I've had 2 home births. And I will say with Hanny, I didn't know what to expect. Like with your first baby, you have no idea what's going to happen. So really there's you only know what people have told you. And I honestly, people didn't tell me a lot. So I wasn't scared. I wasn't afraid.
And you've always handled pain well.
And I've always handled pain well. So. Now, the biggest point that I had the scare was after we had Shiloh. So Shiloh is our 3rd and he was our first, like, I was completely sane during the pain of labor. We had him in a birth center and it was because you so much, it's like the first time you go through like a real natural labor, you don't know what to expect. You don't know how your body's going to react, and with the pain, how far the pain escalates. So when I was pregnant with our 4th, I was terrified. I had so much anxiety about the pain of labor that because I was remembering Shiloh's birth, and I remember just talking to my best friend about it and being so scared and nervous. Like we had coffee dates like every week, and I was just it was really, I definitely
because with an epidural they say you just felt pressure.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, some will play it off as, oh, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Obviously,
It's totally
female
different.
is like, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's not just pressure, there's pain as well.
Yeah.
But doing it with no medication.
Like, pretty much, when you have a natural labor with no medication, there will be a point where you feel like you will die. Like, you're not going to make it through. This is the end. The light, you can see it. And that's usually when the baby's about to be born. That's like,
right there. You're at the end. It's like,
yeah,
you just want to get the baby out at that point.
But see, when you go through your first time, you don't know that.
Yeah.
So the first time I went through that, it was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I could never do that again. So with Ezrah, I was terrified. But then what was really interesting is that when I was actually in labor with Ezrah and I had him, and we had him at home naturally, the pain was not what I had escalated it to be because I'd given myself so much anxiety. So yes, it was really painful, but I had worked myself up so much that after he was born, I remember being like, that's it. Like, I'm done.
See, I think what fascinated me the most was when you talked about how you had that euphoric that you've never really experienced.
Yeah.
Because everything was natural, so your body was able to take in all of that, like, after you give birth.
Right.
And you just were so calm.
Yeah.
And just felt so good.
Like the
and
second
the midwife and everything, they were kind of working and doing the stuff that they needed to do to clean up, and Nisa was just in her own little, like, you know,
like, I don't remember all the stuff that the doctors and midwives are doing. I'm just like, so from having Hanny in the hospital with an epidural, and I kind of got sick after her birth too, I didn't have the same feelings that I did. Yeah, that like, oh my gosh, my baby's here, and like, obviously I loved her and everything, but it was a completely different feeling. When you have a natural labor and your baby comes out, it's like every pain that you just went through, every single like thought that you had is completely wiped away, and it's like a tunnel vision. It's you and the baby, and like, I don't really remember
all this chaos was going on around you, but you were just so,
like, he's like, oh, there was stuff going on all over the place, but I'm like, all I remember is the baby being born and I'm holding the baby, and it's like
warm body on your chest.
It is. It's like the best.
And I remember because like, I don't know, one of the kids, one of them, but it was, she was in the tub. She did it in the tub. Yeah. And then we brought her to the bed and we laid her down, and she remembered nothing about that transportation.
No,
and it was a pain. It was like, we were holding her, we were trying to make sure let her get over the ledge, and
it was like me and baby.
And it looked uncomfortable because she just gave birth.
But it's tunnel vision.
I think that's fascinating.
But I will definitely say overall that when you have a natural birth, there is something different and special about it that makes you not afraid of birth. It makes you actually look forward to it. Like, now, it's weird. Like, I know there's going to be a lot of pain involved. I know it's not going to be comfortable, but I look forward to it because the reward that you get and you feel after the baby's born is like nothing ever. Yeah.
Okay, that's why that was funny, because it's like, so how during your pregnancy, like, how do you feel about me in those bad moments? Like, how someone like, you did this to me, I hate you. There's good and there's bad, because sometimes
like
obviously
when
you're
pain, or
when you're in pain,
nauseous,
or when you're like dizzy, or you're nausea, or
honestly,
for us it's kids. There's kids everywhere. Like, sometimes I know that some women are like,
do I hate you?
Do you,
like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah, it's your fault. Or like with Ebenezer, I mean, he was the one I was really wanting.
Yeah, he did.
It's kind of funny that it's like, I wonder how. Do you ever get into those? I
will be completely honest. I've actually never felt like that. I've never ever
passed blame.
I've never passed any blame because the thing is like, there's never been like a pressure to have a baby, or like, we've always agreed and wanted that.
So you're just as guilty for
well, like, to me, being pregnant and going through all the symptoms and everything, it is really hard and it is really difficult, but it's also a huge blessing. Like, that's the thing, is I feel like
that perspective of
it's the reward after, and the blessing that you're getting is worth all of the stuff that you go through. And there's like, how could you blame you?
Even in those worst moments.
Even in those worst moments, I've never thought that. I've never been in labor and through
I'm just
through
saying.
pain and been like, how did you do
I got
this?
lucky then with you, huh?
Yeah, I've never actually had a thought like that at all.
Wow.
So I guess that's
kind of a boring answer, but I appreciate it.
I guess that's
It was
pretty good.
So I think this one's kind of a funny. I really want to know.
Okay.
How do you feel waddling like a penguin? You're going to the store.
No, no. Remember when I was pregnant with Hanny, I was huge. And what did you call me? Oompa Loompa. You remember that?
You're my Oompa Loompa.
Not like to be mean, but it was funny.
Well, we like to make fun of each other.
We do.
Like,
we totally make fun of each other.
They're fun, fat jokes though.
That's so funny. So first of all, when I'm pregnant, I usually, like, especially towards the end, I get swollen and I retain water. And I just overall look
and I join,
like a
I join
penguin.
you though.
Yeah, he joins me.
I go all out. This is why I look a lot chubbier.
He helps me eat the chocolate.
If you look at the Hawaiian videos, apparently.
Oh, don't
look
look at the Hawaiian videos.
Because we went all out when we came to you.
I know. Honestly, okay, so walking like a penguin when you're pregnant is not comfortable. You can't, okay, let me tell you.
Going up the stairs.
Going up the stairs is
I feel
like,
bad for you.
the extra weight is very uncomfortable. And it's not like it's evenly distributed either. You have this huge
Well, that was going to be one of my questions too, was your center of gravity. It's like,
yeah, you can't.
What is that like? Like feeling like you're like, you have to kind of lean and then especially going upstairs, I'm like.
Well, you have to readjust your life, right? So when you get to a certain stage, you can no longer tie your shoes.
That was another,
You can't bend forward, right? Like, to get out of bed, you have to spread your legs open so your belly can fit through. I mean, seriously, you have to readjust how you move your body. Like, I mean, literally. You can't, like, to get up off the couch if you're in, like, the reclined position, you can't just, like, spring forward. You're like,
no, I see you, like, kind of rolling.
Yes, like, you have to roll.
Do this.
Exactly. Like, there's so many things that has to change, and, like, putting on your clothes, putting on your pants. When I mean, literally, you're like, I have to lean against a wall because I feel so heavy and off balance that I can't stand on one foot. You just,
I see how you strategically place yourself against, okay, I can't do this in the middle of the floor here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk towards the wall.
Yes. And also, you have to squat. You can't just like bend over anymore to like pick up something because your belly's in the way. So you have to like squat down and come back up. So you have to change the way that you do your normal life. And you do kind of get used to it, but it's not comfortable. Like, especially the most thing that is uncomfortable is when you're trying to get up in the middle of the night out of your bed to go to the bathroom.
Like 5 times too.
Exactly. And you're like, I'm huge and I can't get out of bed. Sometimes when I'm that big, I'm like, give me a push.
Now, how about this? Do you ever think you are crazy?
Do I think I'm crazy?
Happy, sad, you know. Emotions.
I do. That's actually a really good question.
I'll be honest, she's not as like manic crazy as I've heard some women say that they have been, or husbands say about their lives. You do have your moments. Yeah.
I do have moments where I'm like emotional. Yeah. Or like something will set me off to like, I just want to cry.
But the thing is, I wish you did cry, because I would love to see. Crazy. I would love to see you be like, cry. There's no more brownies or something. You know, like. Or I just watched this movie.
But see, I feel so like kind of embarrassed. Like I feel like, why am I crying over that? It's the most ridiculous, silliest thing in the world. I've never really seen that though. But I feel like it. And so there's times when like, even like, there's been days where it's like little things, like even Shepherd does something really adorable and it just makes me want to cry because I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so cute.
I cry about that too.
I know, but like I feel crazy sometimes because I'm like, I can't just tell Jason, oh my gosh, I'm really emotional about the fact that we just ran out of brownies or something. Or
you have to share that with me because then I can jot it down and we can talk about it.
I feel crazy.
I want to know.
It makes me feel crazy. It really, really
does. All these
does.
years and you haven't really.
Yeah, or like commercials or TV or like, you know, seeing certain things, especially when you're pregnant, if you see like a video about someone giving birth or having a baby or a newborn, oh my, it's like tears just flowing everywhere because you're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And it's not something that would normally do that to you on a regular basis, but it makes you feel like why am I so emotional like that? And I don't want to ever, like, I don't want you to ever be like, wow, she is crazy. Like, she is.
But it's the fun part of being pregnant. I have to enjoy it too.
Well, next time I'm gonna cry about something, and that'll be interesting. Jason, I'm so sorry. I think I've called you at work a couple times and been like,
no, yeah, but
and
those,
I've been
those
like,
have been a little bit serious.
This is really hard. I don't know what's wrong with me right now, but it's just making me really.
You have like, and I've made sure that I follow up. Like, you have called and said, hey, I really need this food, and you sound like it's like
I really need,
or
like,
I'm gonna die, like I'm gonna go crazy if you don't bring this to me, and I've been home all day with the kids.
Oh my gosh,
so I'm like, okay,
so
I will pull over and get that for you.
Yeah, and he does, and it's awesome. So I'm lucky that at least you do stuff like that.
I try.
Yeah.
So what is it like when someone asks you to rub your belly? Does that bother you?
Oh, when someone asks me? Yeah. Like a stranger or someone
stranger.
right now?
Well, I'm either.
Okay, I have had strangers ask me if they can touch my belly, and it is really kind of weird. Not weird because, like, how dare you ask me to touch my belly, but weird because it's like a personal space. It's your baby, exactly. It's your belly.
And you're protecting.
Yeah, and you're protecting.
So like, you need to be protected.
Yeah, I don't think you should do that. If you're a stranger, somebody asks them to touch your belly, it's just kind of weird.
What about if you maybe are a little bit, become more friends?
If I become
I can understand
more friends,
your best friend.
Yeah, my best friend.
But
I don't know. That's a tough question because I haven't had a lot of, like, friends ask. Because I think when they're your friends, they're not like, oh, let me touch your belly. Usually the people that ask you that are people you don't know. And it is kind of weird. But, like, people I know and love, I will offer. I'll be like, oh, you should feel, oh, the baby's moving. Yeah. Like my best friend, and obviously, like, you know, our immediate family, like our kids and you and everything. But, I mean, for the most part, if someone I knew asked if they could touch my belly, I would not think that was weird. I would definitely be like, oh, sure, yeah, you can feel. And that has happened. Like, even like our midwife or like different things, like, you know, whatever.
But they're still a stranger. You haven't really, but
if it's a stranger, it's kind of weird. Like, I'll be honest, it's kind of like an invasion of, like, privacy. And, like, I don't know. It doesn't, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's just weird. Just don't do that.
So how do you feel when somebody asks you that you're having yet another baby? Because now this is, especially for us, you know, after 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, even when we had
7.
Even after we had Hanny and Kai, our first 2, we had people being like, so you're done, right? And you're having, and then we got pregnant with Shiloh almost 4 years later, and they were like, another one?
Another one?
You're done though, right? Yeah, so when it's a stranger, I'm not offended ever.
Okay.
When it's a stranger, I just feel like kind of giggly, like, oh, that's so funny. Like, I like shocking people with it. They'll be like, oh, wow, like,
so have fun with it.
Yeah, like right now I'm pregnant, and people will be like,
well, like yesterday we were at the Seeds Candy, and we didn't have the kids.
Yeah, how many kids do you have? Oh, we have 6. Oh, whoa, what? Oh, and you're having another one.
So it's fun for us.
That's fun. What's not fun is people that are close to you, family members, people who look down on you for, you know, and we have had people in our family who have not agreed with our decision to have 7 children, which we didn't even know we were going to have 7 children. But I mean, yeah, I don't think that there's that excitement. So just because that you love them and they're a part of your family, it makes you feel let down. It makes me feel let down. It makes me feel sad. Not for me, but for the baby, because, like, the baby is like a special gift, and, like, you can't, how could you not be excited about this baby's life?
Well, I mean, when you look at, like, Shepherd and his little, you know, if we just stopped having, then we wouldn't have a cute little Shepherd. Right. And that's, it's like when we look at him, we're like, oh, he's such a special guy. It's like, I'm so glad he's in this world. And
as a mom, you want everyone to be excited that you're pregnant. But the more kids you have, it seems like the excitement goes down a little bit.
It's more annoyance. They're more annoyed that you're having an annoyance.
It's a letdown.
What about when somebody, and I see this in comments too, like when people ask, who is your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Oh,
do you have a favorite?
Because we get a lot, especially about Ebby being your favorite.
We do,
because he's kind of more of a special kid in this, you know,
not like that, but like he needs more attention.
He needs more attention.
you know, he has the pandas and the medical stuff, and he's just a different
There's
kid
a little
in
bit of
general.
different attachment.
Yeah. It's
And-
not that I spend more time with him or
No.
like favor him. It's just that he's so attached to me that he's with me.
Well, and the same
more.
goes with Shepherd. For me,
Yeah.
he's attached. Whenever I'm home,
He's with you.
he's with me.
Yeah.
And he gets
Technically,
annoyed.
he must be your favorite.
Right.
No.
And that's the thing is like when we look at each kid, there is no favorite. Like
Except for all the babies are my favorite. So like I always have a joke. I'm not being serious. I am not
I know,
being
it's
serious.
funny.
But when we have a new baby, I'm always like, oh, you're my favorite. Because they're so sweet and innocent and little, and they, you know, they're not a toddler.
But each of the
getting into
kids have
stuff.
heard that, and then they also know it's not even like
Yeah, they just
true.
they think they know it's funny.
because they're like, I don't know. I sometimes
Yeah.
I do get a little bit worried about that they take it seriously.
I don't think they do, because
But
they say to
they
each other,
don't.
they'll be like, oh, you're my favorite. Just kidding, you're my favorite. Because we just, I don't know,
Yeah.
we kind of make fun of stuff like that because none of our kids are favored more than another.
Yeah.
It's just that we're silly and we joke around with each other.
And we've had good discussions with each of them, so I don't think that they've never expressed to them that they feel
No.
left out, that they feel, you know,
Yeah, I don't think so.
they'll complain sometimes about, oh, this is not fair,
Yeah.
but all kids.
But life isn't fair. That's kind of what we teach
all
them.
kids say that this isn't
Yeah,
fair.
and usually it has to do with like how many pieces of chocolate they got versus this
Yeah.
person. Like I put M&Ms and put some in their hand. It was like they counted and one had 19 and one had 20.
Yeah.
It's usually just
I've
Yeah.
never experienced any of the kids saying that
No.
one is favored more than the other.
No, but
So,
yeah.
that's kind of fun.
But babies are my favorite.
Okay, and this can be more of a serious question that I know some women. Is that sure?
Is he awake already?
I don't think so. That some women take seriously. Some carefree moms are a little bit easier about it, and it might be good to talk about it how you felt. So you were pregnant and had a baby at a young age, at 20. So it's harder for you, I think, because you haven't had so much time with a normal body.
Yeah.
How do you feel? So like you have, you know, you're growing this child that you love, and then you have this baby that you love so much that's like, you know, you'll do anything for him or her.
Yeah.
However, like with Hanny, she kind of destroyed.
did.
I'm not saying Nisa's body is beautiful, and I agree, but it's like some people think it's.
So Hanny was my first baby, and she literally did change my body. Like, I know there's been women who've talked about and said, oh, I had my baby and, you know, oh, it changed my body, but it wasn't like dramatic, or they didn't care. But for me, I got all my stretch marks from Hanny. All of them. I haven't gotten one stretch mark from any other kid. My skin stretched the most, which I guess is like technically the stretch marks. I gained the most weight with her, which was really, it
was rapid too.
It was,
so you didn't even have time to.
It was like
butter up your body and make your
I think that's why I got so many stretch marks with her, and I mean like a lot.
But that you were at such a young age, at 20. Did it ever?
It never, to be perfectly honest, it never actually really bothered me. I think for me, because I was so young, I don't know, I was never into myself like that anyways. Like, oh, I'm super pretty and I want to look like a certain way. It didn't make me feel inadequate or like I wasn't good enough or pretty enough or anything like that. The only bummer, even to like this day with the stretch marks, because that's probably, I can lose weight after I have my babies and all that kind of stuff and like whatever, but the stretch marks, it's like even when you lose your weight, you have this extra skin that if you wear a tight shirt or something, you can see your loose skin. And I mean, that doesn't make me feel inadequate. It just makes me feel like sometimes uncomfortable, like you wish it wasn't there, you know, it's kind of a bummer. But I've never felt like, oh gosh, I can't believe this happened to my body, and how could this happen? I wish that, you know, I took care of myself more. Because I mean, when we had Hanny, I didn't know, because I went from like 98 pounds or something. I was like 100 pounds and not even more than that when I got pregnant with her. And then halfway through, the doctor, like I barely gained any weight, and the doctor was like, you need to gain some weight. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do? Like I eat and I don't know what you want me to do. But for some reason around that 7th to 9th month, so I'm talking like only 2 months period, I ended up gaining 72 pounds.
So crazy to put it when you say the number.
No, it was intense. Like literally I've never blown up like that in any other pregnancy. I won't even show you guys a picture because I'm gonna like spare you. I'm gonna spare you.
It is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. Like
it was cute. I mean, at the time, but like
it was not cute. Like no, I don't blame the Oompa Loompa comment.
I know.
Because I look back and I'm like, was that really me? There's no way. So yeah, but I mean,
everyone pretty much since then it hasn't. I mean, just like this, like the way she looks now. If you look back
like
at now,
water
there's just
weight
a little
and
bit,
stuff. Yeah,
and it's cute and you look adorable, but you know, it is tough because I feel bad sometimes. Like it doesn't bother me as a husband. Like I don't. It's like I'm not bothered by the after the postpartum, and I think it looks. It is kind of like our midwife one time said, it's like kind of tells a story and it's like a beauty marks and I think that's true really cool. But at the same time I feel bad for her because she's like, you have that little skin and I'm like, oh, that must be kind of irritating and annoying. I can understand why someone would hate it too.
But there's like nothing, I would never take it back. Okay. I would never ever say I wish I didn't have this stomach because then I wouldn't have my kids. So I have no regrets and I don't wish it wasn't there. So
that's good.
Okay, well that was really fun, you guys. I had fun answering those questions and I think you had fun answering them. So all right, well that's all we have for you. Don't forget to be epic and inspire someone with your story. We'll see you guys next time.
Oh, the battery's gonna die. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna die again, you guys. We need to get more batteries. Bye.